Hey everyone, I'm Jonathan. I'm Mary's partner in psychology, relationship expert, and coach. The topic of today's short talk is why women don't apologize. I am 36 years old, and I think I can count on one hand the number of apologies I've received from women in my life. That does not mean I've only had relationships with honest, well-behaving, high-integrity women over the past 4 decades. What it does mean is that women seem to find it very hard to apologize for bad behavior. This is too bad for 2 reasons. In the first place, apologizing for something you did wrong is like an interpersonal slam dunk. Almost everybody will forgive you for being wrong. Not everybody will forgive you for being right, but almost everybody will forgive you for being wrong, especially if it means that it makes the other person right. In the second place, apologies just seem to matter more to men. Using words to solve a relationship problem is actually a very easy and inexpensive solution, all things being equal. So ladies, one of the best ways to earn respect and raise your estimation in someone else's mind is to admit wrongdoing when it's appropriate. And of course, to not apologize where there was no wrongdoing and the other person just disagrees or disapproves of your actions. Today, I'm going to talk about why it is so hard for women to apologize. But before I do, please remember to like this episode and subscribe to this channel. It takes less than a second, costs you nothing, and is a great way to help spread this message. So, if you like what you're hearing, then please do the thing. Now, the reason why it is so hard for women to apologize is that there seems to be a difference in what men and women consider to be the problem. From a man's perspective, the problem is some behavior for which he believes the woman to be at fault. And as a consequence of that behavior, he is now angry and upset. The behavior is the problem, and the emotional response is the consequence. In his mind, the solution to this problem is acknowledgement of fault and behavioral change. I don't think that's how a lot of women see it. From a woman's perspective, the problem is not the identified behavior. The problem is that the man is angry and upset. And as ridiculous as that might seem to a man, there's actually some validity to this perspective. Like in a court of law, a breach of contract by itself is generally not actionable. You also have to prove that some harm resulted as a consequence of the breach. No harm, no foul. So it's the harm, the anger, and upset that is the foul from this perspective. In her mind, the solution to this problem is changing the way he feels. If she can succeed in modifying the man's emotional response, then on some level, that would solve the problem. That's why you encounter the kind of interpersonal strategies that you do with women in relationships under these circumstances. Rather than apologies and accountability, you typically see a number of emotional coping strategies, like trying to cheer you up, making your favorite meal, sending you a funny meme, simply allowing enough time to pass for everything to blow over. All of these are strategies to reduce the man's felt experience of anger or upset. Do you understand? Women also notoriously use sex in this manner. Many years ago, I was out for a drink with a woman I was dating, and she decided to take something that I said very much the wrong way. She quickly escalated and within seconds was crying, critical, and withdrawn. It was fairly early in the dating process, so I was taken aback by how quickly this had escalated. However, as is my way, I didn't argue with her and gave her some time and space to emotionally equilibrate. Later that night, rather than apologizing for imputing to me something that I didn't intend, or owning up to the disproportionate intensity of her emotional reaction, or even acknowledging the episode at all, she just came into the room, took off all her clothes, and kind of laid herself in front of me. The feeling I had was that she was offering sex as a kind of peace offering to assuage my hurt feelings rather than apologizing for her bad behavior. In that moment, I unfortunately lost a lot of respect for this person because of what her behavior seemed to imply. That if I could be distracted with a bit of sex, then we could all just move forward as if what just happened didn't happen. I got up and slept on the couch in another room. That's an example of how women apologize with sex. So men, if you're expecting an apology from your woman, I would advise you not to hold your breath. On the other hand, ladies, I would highly encourage you to consider apologizing when appropriate. Why? Because men respect people who take responsibility for themselves. And men very rarely receive apologies from women. So this is an easy way that costs you nothing to quickly distinguish yourself from the vast majority of other women in a positive manner in the mind of a particular man. I guarantee that his estimation of you will increase as a result. What do you think? Does this square with your experience of things? Let me know in the comments below, and thank you for listening.